Yo, welcome back to another video. We ready to get right into it. This is 10 WWE wrestlers who dropped their title due to backstage politics. I had did my hair, but I didn't like how it looked, so I took it down. I put it back up, then I took it down again. It was hectic. My hair is too short to do a lot. Well, anything.
But that's our job.
Unless you were like,
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire. I stopped 1,000 attacks.
When a WWE superstar drops their title, fans assume that WWE simply wants to go in a different direction creatively with that specific title. Whilst for the most part this is usually the case, backstage politics can have a major impact on WWE's decision to make a certain superstar drop their title. From falling out of favour with top WWE superstars to not following WWE etiquette, some of these justifications WWE have given for halting a title reign are hard to even fathom because of how ridiculous they are. But which times were they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 times a WWE wrestler dropped their title due to backstage politics.
I'm not on my video. Right now. Here we go. Here we go.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. Dolph Ziggler. Following the 2014 Survivor Series pay-per-view, fans expected Dolph Ziggler to receive a huge push. Ziggler was a sole survivor in the Team WWE vs Team Authority match, and fan admiration of the former world champion had never been higher. Ziggler would win the Intercontinental title in an acclaimed ladder match against Luke Harper at the TLC pay-per-view, and there were even rumors that Ziggler was going to win the Royal Rumble. Sadly, a few weeks after Ziggler's push, it came crashing down as Ziggler lost the title to Bad News Barrett on Raw. Now, the reason behind this was because Ziggler had upset key figures backstage by booking his comedy gigs without WWE's permission. This was a complete overreaction, and Ziggler attempting to branch out and do something he's passionate about shouldn't have been punished in this manner. Number 9. Dean Ambrose. In August 2016, the reigning WWE champion Dean Ambrose was a special guest on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast on the WWE Network. The podcast made for uncomfortable viewing as Ambrose was agitated with a lot of Austin's questions, and Austin was getting visibly frustrated. During the course of the podcast, Ambrose made some comments about Brock Lesnar, including stating that Lesnar was lazy during their match at WrestleMania 32.
I put so much effort in, so much work in, and other people did too, and I was met with laziness.
The champion made negative comments about one of WWE's biggest stars, which angered WWE management, not to mention Vince McMahon wasn't impressed with the champion's outburst. Ambrose was now falling out of favour with management, mainly because they didn't like Ambrose speaking his mind, something which the podcast actively encouraged. Just 1 month after Ambrose's appearance on the podcast, Ambrose would drop the title to AJ Styles at the Backlash pay-per-view, and Ambrose would never receive another run with the top prize in WWE. Number 8. Sami Zayn. When the global pandemic took a hold of the world in 2020, WWE star Sami Zayn decided to stay at home until the pandemic had settled down. This was a decision which fans respected, as Sami's health and well-being should always come first. Even though it was reported that if any superstar decided to step away from the WWE, reportedly there would be no punishment on them. But Sami taking time off landed him with major backstage heat. WWE decided to outright strip Sami of the Intercontinental title, even though WWE would have been fine without having an active champion on a show for a short period. This wasn't a case of WWE doing this because they urgently needed a new champion, it was simply because Sami had decided to stay at home rather than appear on programming. It was completely unjust. Number 7. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy finally winning the WWE title at the end of 2008 was one of the most feel-good moments in WWE history. However, his reign was rather underwhelming as he lost the title a month later to Edge at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Now, the main reason that Hardy lost the title was due to backstage politics, predominantly involving Triple H. Triple H was against Jeff ever winning the title, and when Jeff eventually won it, Triple H continued to politic against Jeff. Triple H believed that WWE couldn't trust someone like Hardy with the title. Unfortunately, Vince was eventually influenced by Triple H's agenda. Jeff Hardy would drop the title in January of 2009, and the following month, Triple H would once again win the title, heading into WrestleMania 25 as champion. Number 6. Goldberg. Goldberg's WWE run between 2003 and 2004 was a complete disaster. Although Goldberg achieved major victories over the likes of The Rock, Triple H and even Brock Lesnar, they failed to make Goldberg feel like a major attraction. This was mainly down to Goldberg falling victim to backstage heat. This all began when Goldberg had a physical confrontation with Chris Jericho shortly after he arrived in WWE. Jericho was said to be one of the most popular guys in the locker room, so naturally this made Goldberg an enemy to the rest of the locker room. Goldberg even upset Linda McMahon as she called him a disappointment on a WWE investors call. Even though WWE did try to present Goldberg as a credible star, including a world title win in September 2003, it fell flat. Goldberg had even fallen out of favor with Triple H, who was the top heel on Raw and had a ton of influence during this time period. All these factors led to WWE deciding to have Goldberg drop the world title to Triple H in a triple threat match at the Armageddon pay-per-view.
The future is threatened by enemies often unimaginable. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
This actually led to Goldberg throwing a temper tantrum in the locker room following his loss, and Triple H had to awkwardly confront the former world champion regarding his unprofessional behavior. Number 5. Yokozuna. There may not be a bigger manipulator of backstage politics than Hulk Hogan. Hogan manipulated his way into superstars, losing a push for virtually his entire career. One of the most infamous incidents of this took place at WrestleMania 9. The main event of the pay-per-view featured Yokozuna capturing the world title from Bret Hart. This would be Yokozuna's first reign, and it was a huge deal to see a heel walk out of WrestleMania as WWE Champion. But when Hogan heard these creative plans, he decided to immediately go to Vince McMahon and politic his way into the main event. Hogan's rationale was that the crowd would go home unhappy if a heel walked out of WrestleMania with the top prize in the company. And instead of suggesting that Bret simply wins the match, Hogan suggested that he should challenge Yokozuna to an impromptu matchup and beat Yokozuna to win the title in just 22 seconds. Vince, due to being highly influenced by Hogan, agreed, and the finish went ahead, making it one of the most controversial booking decisions in WWE history. Number 4. CM Punk. CM Punk was enjoying a great reign as world champion in 2009 when WWE decided to have him drop the world title to The Undertaker at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. The reason for this was because The Undertaker had actually used his backstage power and presence to complain about Punk's attitude. Punk was reportedly told by The Undertaker that if he was going to carry the world title, he needed to dress better, and Punk outright refused to alter his fashion sense. Cases of The Undertaker using his backstage power to the detriment of others is incredibly rare, but in 2009 it was clear that Punk had clearly fallen out of favour with the WWE great. Number 3. Randy Orton. A SummerSlam in 2004 featured Randy Orton becoming the youngest world champion in WWE history. His reign would be short-lived though, as he would drop the world title the next month to his former mentor Triple H at the Unforgiven pay-per-view. There were a ton of rumours backstage surrounding why Orton dropped the title, but they all came down to backstage politics. There were reports at the time that WWE main eventers were telling Vince McMahon that Orton wasn't ready and he wasn't good as a babyface world champion. However, the most viable rumour was that it was Triple H who once again manipulated his way into another world title victory. With Taboo Tuesday set to debut the month after the Unforgiven pay-per-view, Triple H believed that the fans needed a heel world champion to entice them to vote on opponents and potential stipulations. Whatever the case may be, Orton clearly had his run cut short unfairly. Number 2. The Fiend. Now, the initial plans for WrestleMania 36 called for The Fiend to defend the Universal title against Roman Reigns. And to build The Fiend up ahead of this huge match, they booked The Fiend to defend his title against Goldberg at the Super Showdown pay-per-view. Now, nobody was expecting Goldberg to win as they knew that The Fiend was set to meet Reigns at WrestleMania, but Goldberg decided to use his legendary status to get the match finish changed. According to reports, Goldberg lobbied to defeat The Fiend on the day of the pay-per-view. He stated that the kids see him as a superhero, and this could be damaged if he lost. Now, for some bizarre reason, Vince McMahon actually agreed with Goldberg and decided to have Goldberg win the title for the second time in his career. And number 1, The Undertaker. Just 1 year after debuting in WWE, The Undertaker captured the title by defeating Hulk Hogan at the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and this should have led to a lengthy run with the top prize in WWE. However, just 6 days later, Taker dropped the title back to Hogan at the This Tuesday in Texas event. The Undertaker wasn't expecting to drop the title so soon, and it surfaced years later that Hogan had told everyone backstage that Taker was unsafe in the ring. Hogan was unfairly claiming that Taker had damaged his neck with the tombstone piledriver onto the chair, and this actually led to The Undertaker abruptly dropping the title back to Hogan, as Vince McMahon clearly believed every word that Hogan was saying. Now, it's believed that Hogan was faking the injury, as footage from their match shows that The Undertaker clearly didn't hurt Hogan, nor was the tombstone botched in any way. It was just yet another clear example of Hogan using backstage politics to further his own career. But there you have it, folks. 10 times a WWE wrestler dropped their title due to backstage politics. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
But I think when John Cena did it, the guy didn't have a championship. That's why he wasn't on the list. But anyways, thank y'all for watching. They could have put Orton on here. They could have Orton and Kofi, because Kofi was gonna be champion soon.